We were actually living in Africa at the time doing mission work. Our first daughter was born there, and then we became pregnant with Andrew in Africa. And there was a lot of family stuff happening back home, a lot of trauma that I wasn't able to be a part of, but we were on the other side of the world, actually. And so I had a lot of stress during that pregnancy. I actually had preterm labor with him. We went back to the States early to have him, thinking he would come early, and he did not. He was actually 2 weeks late. And we had a very traumatic birth with him. What I know now, I can see that things started there with him. He was always a happy little guy. He got glasses early on in life, like at 18 months old. Different things with his eyes were happening. We did everything that the doctors told us to. He had eye surgery to correct some muscle issues early on as well. And at the age of 6, he had his first seizure. We didn't know he was having a seizure at the time. It almost seemed like he was choking. There is a seizure where they don't convulse. He was transported to a local hospital and then was sent to a children's hospital 2 hours away. And Daddy had to go with him because I had a small baby at the time. We were given a diagnosis of benign Rolandic seizure disorder. And first off with that, it didn't make sense because he had never had a seizure during the night. And that we knew of, and that's what those type of seizures were supposed to be. We started him on the meds like we were told to do, and he was seen by the neurologist every 6 months. And every time we went, we asked, but where do we go from here? What's next? And they kept telling us, nothing is next until he is seizure-free for 2 years. And my gut told me that wasn't right, but we were very alone in that journey, and we thought we were supposed to listen to the doctors, and they were not giving us any answers that seemed right. He had a seizure once a year for 3 years. I weaned him off the meds just because things didn't seem right to me. I found a way to do it properly. He went almost 2 years seizure-free. And they say if you go 2 years seizure-free that you outgrew that type of seizure. He went 22 months seizure-free. And they started back up when the pandemic happened. In 2020, he had 6 seizures between February of 2020 to May of 2020. And we sought holistic care from that point. I knew in my gut we weren't going back to where we had started. And he saw a chiropractor weekly. So we continued him on all the homeopathics. We were told to do everything. We did everything. And I felt at that time that we were on the correct journey for him. And we were during that time. The Lord led us and directed us exactly where we were supposed to be during that time. May of 2020, his seizures stopped. He actually went a whole year without one. And we did continue the chiropractic care weekly. We actually drove an hour each way weekly, which was very difficult with a large family, but we did. We were going to do whatever we needed to do. And May 2021, they started back up because they were getting worse. I started searching for groups on Facebook. I found a group called Healing Seizures Naturally. And I posted Andrew's story in there, and Dr. Tony commented and asked if I'd ever heard of this type of chiropractic. We sent a couple messages back and forth. God still was directing our paths during that time. He was having seizures every 7 to about 10, 12 days. He was having a seizure. We could almost clock them, time them, know when they were coming. He started having absent seizures while reading. In 2022, I knew something had to change. It wasn't until late summer of 2022 when my niece had a seizure, and I posted prayer for her in my stories, and Dr. Tony commented on that story and said he was praying and said, let's get her to Illinois. And I said, but they're in California. What can we do? And he's like, I'm going to find somebody for her out there. And I told him our story, and I was expecting a baby soon, our 6th baby. But I was like, Andrew's doing really bad right now, and we need prayer for him too. And he's like, just get him here and we will figure everything else out. When we noticed things getting really bad for Andrew, grades tanked at school. He was a D/F average. And then we realized he couldn't hold a conversation. His eye contact was awful. Like, we would be talking to him and he would just wander into somewhere else. And then we would try studying with him, and he couldn't remember the first question we had asked him after 2 minutes. The short-term memory loss was really getting to him, and we were seeing a decline cognitively. And that's when we knew we had to do whatever it took to get to a pediatric chiropractor. When we arrived in Illinois, I knew from the beginning that we were in the right spot at that exact timing again. Talking with the CAs on the phone, it just put my heart at ease, and that we were one step closer to hope and healing for Andrew. Our first things we noticed was him sleeping better. Things that we had noticed before was a lot of tossing and turning and teeth grinding and mouth movement during sleeping, just very noisy sleeper. And now he can sleep peacefully. We enjoyed being at the intensive and seeing small healing before our eyes. We went home and we got started with a local chiropractor there, which has been absolutely amazing. His longest stretch currently has been 38 days. His seizures are cut in half. I was just telling someone yesterday that last year at this time, he had 15, 16, 17 seizures. And now he's only had 7 in 2023. And we are just so grateful and thankful for the paths that led us here. It's so great to see Andrew now being able to play basketball without an absent seizure. We'd call them glitches because his mouth just twitches for a few seconds. He's so full of life and vibrant and smiling, and he can engage in a conversation and hold that conversation, and it's just been amazing. Our experience with Andrew, I get to be a hope dealer for other moms. In April, I was offered, I think it was kind of like slipped in a report of findings. And I was just like, did he just offer me a position? And come to find out, that's what it was. And 2 weeks later, I was up in Illinois training with the best. It's been amazing to see some of the transitions of families and their own stories happening before their eyes. I feel blessed, so blessed to be where I'm at and being able to share this option for other families. I've recommended and helped families find a place in other states, and they're hopeful for the first time. I am Lacey Peach, and we will make it through the storm.